I'm just trying on some of these masks for Halloween. Today I'm bringing you some music from Bossa Nova called Summer Bossa Nova and Jazz, relaxing instrumental music, studying sleep and work. We're not doing any of those things today. So what I want to talk to you about is, when do you choose when to be neutral, how to choose your battles, and when to be a warrior. I think a lot of you choose to be neutral. Some of you don't choose your battles wisely, and some of you are never warriors. Well, we'll get into that as we go down the line. So, starting with, when is a good time to be neutral? When it is absolutely unsafe for you to do so otherwise. So that means literally if your life is at stake, that's the time to be neutral. If somebody else is in trouble, that's not the time to be neutral. You gotta stand up and speak up for people. Choosing battles. Number 2. Let's say somebody offends you for the first time. Well, maybe they didn't mean it, they had a bad day, you misunderstood. You let it slide the first time because you're 85% codependent and you care about what people think. But the next time it happens, you speak up. That's choosing your battle wisely. Because at what point are you going to become a pushover and not stand up? Number 3, being a warrior. Some of you are never a warrior. And some of you are always the warrior. And I would say a very small selection know how to use it when they need to, because sometimes it's necessary. If someone pushes you against the wall, if somebody is hurting someone, at what point are you going to say, please stop? Don't you understand you're hurting them, right? You have to eventually do what you normally wouldn't do, which is fight them, hold them down, do a citizen's arrest, right? I'm going to give you 2 examples where being a warrior came in my favor, because had I just been nice, had I just been neutral, or not chosen that battle, then I wouldn't have gotten paid. So, one time was when I was in New York, and I had suddenly found myself in a bedbug situation, and I said I have to go. So I told my roommate, I'm leaving. I'm leaving in 3 weeks. I want my deposit back, and I'm out. Well, she tried to convince me to stick it through the deposit and stay an extra month. I refused. She insisted. And she also said she didn't have the money, nor would she be giving it back to me. Well, she left me with no option, because I wasn't going to stay there for 2 months. So, desafortunadamente, tenía que retarla en español, which means, unfortunately, I had to basically yell at her in Spanish. And yell at her I did. I'm not even going to repeat the words that I said, but basically it's all of them. And she casted me out as crazy, gave me my money, and said I could move out immediately. I was like, perfect. You know, if you had just done what was right, we would have been fine. But since you were taking advantage of the situation, I had to be the warrior. That was about a couple years back. Let's talk about what just happened recently. I'm talking maybe 6 months ago. I worked at maybe 3 different law firms this year in Chi-Town. And the second one that I worked at, this guy was going bananas. The other secretary and I found out that apparently he was going through a divorce, but it was something else. He definitely had like a mental issue. He was the type of person where we would tell him something that was going on as an update, like, oh, just so you know, like the computer isn't working here. And he would look us dead in the face and be like, we need solutions, not problems. So just to give you a little feedback on what was that. In the end, it was a revolving door, because he didn't know how to treat people. Not only did he not know how to treat his employees, his staff, his own partners, that one just straight up moved to India. That was pretty crazy. He also yelled at the clients. So I ended up quitting at the same time that a client was dismissing him of her services, or his services, which is ironic. Well, this man would not pay me. I emailed him and emailed him and messaged him and called him and let him know he needed to pay. And ultimately, no matter how many times I did, it wasn't until I let him know that I was going to come with some people that, wouldn't you know, I got a check in the mail, right? And that to me is actually not that bad. I'm pretty sure my former roommate felt my wrath when she tried to refuse me my money. This guy, he basically just got like an email thread, just like, hey, I'm gonna bring my boys. You don't even know who my boys are. You really wanna mess with that? You know, just to let you know the end of that story. He ended up sending me a check, and you know how petty he was? Do you know what he wrote in the memo? Poor work. Hey, write whatever you want, but you better pay me, right? So these are just 3 different examples of how you should go about picking what you do when you're up against a challenge. When it's okay to be neutral, when it's time to choose that battle, and when you have to be a warrior because they're not giving you any other option. You have to just fight for your rights. You have to stand up for what's right. You have to protect other people. You cannot stand neutral in the side of the oppressor. You cannot stand neutral when someone is over and overly offending you. And you also can't just be a bully and just be a warrior 100% either. That can only be saved for the real necessary crazy times where it's literally a sake of life and death, sanity, peace or not peace. All right, so let me know what you think.